I am. I think the biggest tailwind that's going to emerge in the next couple of weeks is around the central bank. The Fed is set to cut in December, but also today is the day that quantitative tightening ends. And as you know, the Fed's been shrinking its balance sheet since April 2022. It's been a pretty big headwind for market liquidity. The last time we had an end to QT, quantitative tightening, was September 2019. And if you look back at that period, the markets really responded well. I think within 3 weeks rallied more than 17%. So I do think the timing of QT ending, which is now essentially QE starting, and the Fed, and at a time when November kind of was topsy turvy. So I think people got cautious, but now have to performance chase. And then you have a really typically a seasonal tailwind. So I'm pretty bullish into December, even with maybe the first day being rocky.
So there you have Tom Lee. He's sitting there telling you the last time we seen this pivot in the markets was back in September of 2019. We'll look at the charts in Bitcoin and see what happened after that. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of this. With that, what's happening, Crypto Cruise? Sean's coming back at you, another cryptocurrency video. Before we get started, real quick, shameless plug, bitcaps21.com. You guys need some crypto gear. Got your Bitcaps Classics hats here and the Satoshi Styles brand here. Make sure you check it out at bitcaps21.com. Getting straight into the chart, what do we see? What do we anticipate? Let's look back in the charts and look at September of 2019. So we're going back quite some time. Okay, so here's 2019. Obviously, the price is a lot less. Let's go down to September. September is way down here. So let's zoom in down to this price action. So September is roughly around right here. We had this meltdown in the market. Was this the bottom? We traded sideways for some time, had a bounce up. So this is like an inverse Bart Simpson pattern. Look what happened. We ultimately ended up coming down and putting in a lower low, but then also a lower low at the pandemic dump. So that did not indicate that the market was turning around. We did get a pop up, but the trend was your friend to the end, and we still went into a bear cycle and ultimately bottomed out March of 2020. So that was roughly 6 to 7 months later. So where we are right now, could we see lower price action based off of that? Bitcoin bros would say, yes, that's most likely going to happen when we get this quantitative tightening cycle in play. And where would that take us down to? Well, we see here, we zoom into this price action, the trend's your friend to the end. We're still putting in lower lows and lower highs, and we broke out of this downtrend here, but will this be sustained? Will we come back down and put a lower low in? Lower than the 80.5K range, that definitely could happen. Look, we're seeing a bearish cross on the MACD, and the last time we seen this, we went from peak up to 116 down to ultimately bottoming out at 80. So that was a massive, massive breakdown in price. Let's see here. We seen a 30% pullback the last time we seen this. But the RSI was in overbought territory, needs to cool off. Look right now, we could be getting some type of potential breakout and change in the RSI. This could come reset very quickly, and we'll see what the price action does. Let's look on the higher time frame, look on the 3-day, and right now we're seeing potentially double bottom out, and we haven't got too overbought just quite yet. And right now, at the current time of recording, we're sitting at 86.3K. Let's look on the weekly. This is definitely in a downtrend, and we have not got to overbought territories yet. Looking to the right of the charts, we're sitting on top of this level here, the 86.4, 86 to 86.5 range. And if we fall through this, where this take us down to, this will take us probably down to roughly the $69,000 range if this does not hold. So why don't you be patient? Could we see this further come down? Yes, we could. On the weekly, on the 5-day, we are not in oversold territory just quite yet. On the 3-day, we have not seen, we did see under, a given level here. But this is Bitcoin, so we see with Bitcoin, while you're bearish on Bitcoin, the $11 trillion Vanguard to finally allow clients to access Bitcoin ETFs starting tomorrow. Another institution allowing their clients $11 trillion under asset to buy Bitcoin ETFs. Major moves playing. Also, more bullishness happening behind the scenes. Check this out.
Cryptocurrency related products and revenue have been an important part of Robinhood's growth story. What are your thoughts on adopting Bitcoin or other digital assets as part of your corporate treasury strategy?
Shiv, what do you think about that one?
So we spent a lot of time thinking about this. We like alignment with the community. We are a big player in crypto. We want to keep doing it. We like that our customers are engaged in it. What we always try to figure out is it the right thing for shareholders as well? If you put it on your balance sheet, it has the positives and that you're aligned with the community, but it does take up capital. Our shareholders can also go and buy Bitcoin directly on Robinhood, and so are we making that decision for them? And is it the best use of our capital? There's a lot of different things you're doing, from new products, for growth, investing in engineering. So we have this debate constantly, and I think the short answer is we're still thinking about it. There's pros and cons to both of it, and it's one that we're going to keep actively looking at.
So right there, Robinhood is considering buying Bitcoin for its treasuries. This is a massive move if this comes to light. Stay tuned here. While you're being bearish, look what's going on with MSTR down to 172 in post market. What do we see? What do we anticipate? Could we see a turnaround? Well, this is a bullish hammer right here on the daily chart. Could we see this being indicative of getting this turnaround? We're not out the woods yet. The MACD is pointing upwards. The RSI is extremely oversold. Looking on a higher time frame, the 3-day, we have not seen any divergences just quite yet. The next level to pay attention to the upside is the 180 range. If we get back above that comfortably and trade quite some time, then the next level 195. So 180 to 195 is the next two levels to pay attention to. Getting back into that 200 range would be ideal for MSTR, maybe trading sideways before it has to fight the next level up, next leg up, getting up to $330. Are you buying this dip, or are we waiting for lower price action? Looking at the right of the charts, we can see there's a lot of confluence around this area right here, around the 170 range. If we don't hold this level, we could see further downside price action down to the 110 area. So make sure you have dry capital. If this plays out, but nibbling some right here wouldn't be the baddest strategy either, not financial advice. Zooming out on the charts, we could see that we could just have this corrective pattern here. You got this A, B, or this A leg, B, and the C could be playing out. Could we go a little farther? Most definitely, but this is definitely a corrective pattern before we see the next leg up to the upside. So while we see all this FUD, there's people that are making a lot of money and don't really know what to do with it. Don't let this be you.
If I didn't have $1 in my account right here today as we speak, I'm going to be straight for the rest of my life. No question, right? I don't think everybody is in that. And when you've sacrificed your whole life to get here, and you're like, yeah, I played 10 years in the league. And I always explain this to people, I'm like, bro, you give somebody a 5-year, $100 million contract, right? What is it really? It's 5 years for 60. You're getting taxed. Do the math. That's 12 a year, that you have to spend, use,
Save,
invest, flaunt, like whatever, however, just being real. I'm gonna buy a car, I'm gonna give my mama a house, I'm gonna do everything costs money. So if you're spending $4 million a year, that's really 40 million over 5 years, 8 a year. And now you start breaking down the numbers, it's like that's a 5-year span of where you're getting 8 million. Can you make that last forever? And you always hear the people who ain't us and ain't been in the position like, oh, well, that would last a lifetime.
Financial literacy is what this comes down to, and understanding how money works. If you're making $8 million a year, or after taxes, some millions, guys, there is avenues you can park your money in. Obviously, you want to stay invested in the markets because you understand debasement of money watching this channel, right? And understand the value of Bitcoin. But the bigger thing is once you get that Bitcoin stash set aside, okay, you make another million next year. Are you putting that into something that's giving you a yield, dividend payments? That's where these new vehicles like Stretch, and we're seeing SATA, and a lot of other vehicles that are being developed. Metaplant's going to be rolling out some preferreds as well. That this will allow you just to get this yield higher than what's been the average, 3 to 5%, sometimes 10, 11%. And that is going to allow you to quote unquote retire or live off those funds. Understand how money works. And right here, Bob Lucas is weighing in. He's calling for some downside because look here, the price action fell through this uptrend. We've showed this in previous videos. Trends your friend to the end. There's a lot of confluence back down to this level around the $70,000 range. So could Bitcoin be getting ready to fall to the downside over the next so many weeks? This is the week. Oh, this is the monthly chart. Sorry. So by the end of 2027, could we be seeing this bottoming out pattern happen? And then are we going to be seeing another leg up to the upside for new all-time highs? Patience is key. So with that, where do you see Bitcoin going right now at the current time it's recording? Bitcoin is at 86.3, and we are just touching oversold territories on the 3-day. And looking on the higher time frame, let's look on the 2-week. We see that, we are in a downtrend, putting in lower lows and lower highs. Could we see more downwards price action and pressure for Bitcoin over the next weeks and months to come? It seems like we could just be forming some type of rolling over pattern to where Bitcoin could come down to some of these lower levels to pay attention to. Once again, we showed you in this chart, this is the level to pay attention to if this fall down continues around that $65,000 to $70,000 range. And with that, I'm Sean with the Bitcoin Bros. If you guys like this content, go ahead and smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and show us some love. We appreciate each and every one of you. With that, I'm out.